Well, hello and welcome to the stream. Let's go ahead and see what we can get into. We're going to do a little bit of Art Bell, Coast to Coast AM, the Haunted New Ship.
Call Art Bell toll free. West of the Rockies at 1-800-618-8255. 1-800-618-8255. And you can adjust this bed and make it any way you want on any given night. So you wake up in the morning without aches, pains, and hurts. Now, we don't expect you to bump the bed sight unseen. Actually, from the outside, it looks like any other bed in the world. Inside, vive la différence. Because that's still okay to say in all parts of Canada, huh? Now look, we'll send you a videotape, and it will show you all about this bed. Then and only then, if you decide you want to buy it, you get a 90-day exclusive in-home or night trial, whatever, risk-free. And otherwise, the law. They won't be able to test. If they came to take that bed back from you, you'd guard it with a shotgun. Believe me, the number to call for Select Comfort for the videotape, which is free, is 1-800-448-5700. That's 1-800-448-5700. In a moment, more Ghost to Ghost AM. The secret of making money is the right time. Now is the time to call the number I'm about to give you. Vice President Albert Gore said one thing just right, quote, make no mistake about it. The telecommunications industry is by all odds the most important lucrative marketplace of the 21st century, end quote. Act now. Discover how a minimum $7,700 participation in telecommunications right now can bring back to you $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 and more, plus a yearly income for the rest of your life. And yes, it can be part of your IRA or retirement plan. For complete details and a free video cassette, call them now, toll free, 1-800-444-1049. Ensure your financial future. Take action now, 24 hours a day. That means now, 1-800-444-1049. For a free investors report and a video, call 1-800-444-1049. This is from a retired Navy fellow. Art, you had a show about airplane ghosts. Well, here's one about ship ghosts. I am retired, U.S. Coast Guard. I served on the icebreaker Glacier with a ghost. I saw him only one time. I was asleep in my stateroom when I heard a knock at the door. The door opened, and a sailor, that's in quotes, leaned in and said, Mr. Blank, you're needed in B1 engineering room. One of the mains is making bad noises, and the watch needs you. Got to the engine room fast as I could. The door opened as I got there, and one of the sailors said, I was just coming to get you. I told him I came as soon as I was called. His reply was, huh? This just happened, and I was just coming to get you. Another time, I saw the hatch to the emergency diesel generator room close, and the lock wheel spin and lock. On entering the compartment, there was no one there. It's a small area with no place for anyone human to hide. The third time the ghost made himself known was to a woman who worked for the district office. She was updating blueprints while we were moored in Long Beach. Suddenly, it burst into the mess hall, so scared she was shaking. She told us she had seen a translucent, transparent sailor walk out of a bulkhead of the passageway, glare at her, continue on down the hall. She never came back on that ship. Jim, U.S. Coast Guard, retired, Shelton, Washington. Thank you, Jim. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Welcome.
Hi, Art. This is Jamie calling from Houston, Texas.
How you doing, Jamie?
I'm just fine. I'm a first-time caller, and I want to say that I've personally never seen a ghost. But the story I want to tell you has been in the family over 90 years, so I thought I might tell you. It's coming from 3 generations.
You might tell me.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, my grandmother used to tell me, but her grandmother told her when she was a girl her uncle, her mother's brother. His wife died after they had a new baby, and he had a little girl that was 6 years old, and then they had a new baby. Well, when he would get the little girl and the baby bedded down at night, there were no electric lights, it was just old shacks in South Carolina. He would go out late at night, for a couple of hours, but he would leave a fire burning in the fireplace.
Sure.
Well, one night he went out and he didn't come back. He stayed out a little late, and the baby started to cry. And the little girl, being 6 years old, she was afraid because the fire was burning out. She was afraid to get up. So after a while, the baby cried and cried. After a while, she heard this thump, and then something came down the fireplace. So the girl said it looked like a big bird, and the bird stood right in front of the fireplace. And it started fanning its wings. And the fire just rose up. And she could hear a voice saying, "Get up and give Mama's baby some water." She couldn't see the face of the bird. She could only see the back, but she knew that was her mother's voice. So she walked around the bird and got the baby some water. When the baby was back down, the bird went back up into the fireplace just like it came. And the fire burnt real high all night long. And the little girl was telling her father about this big bird that came down the fireplace and told her to get up and give Mama's baby some water. So when he told his mother, which was my grandmother's grandmother, my grandmother's 85 now, he told her never leave the children alone anymore. But it was just amazing how something good, I guess we could call it a ghost or whatever, but the mother just wanted her to give baby some water, little girl like that.
Well, I suspect in the spirit world there is good and there's evil.
Sure. And I just thought I wanted to share that with you because that's not evil. It was a good thing.
I appreciate it.
And my grandmother handed it down, and I suppose when my son gets old and has grandchildren, I'll hand it down to him. But thank you, Art, for having me. And I'll listen to you.
All right, I'm glad. Thank you for that. It's KCRH. Now, I agree with that lady. There's good and there's evil. How many of you saw a movie called The Sand? Her backstory reminded me of this. In The Sand was a wonderful movie. The first hour of it is possibly some of the best I've ever seen. It kind of deteriorated, in my view, after that, the television version. But in The Sand, you may recall the large, black, evil bird. Well, I broadcast, for those of you who are just joining us, from my home, here in the middle of the desert, in the middle of nowhere, in a little town called Pahrump, Nevada. Laugh, if you will. At any rate, our town is famous for many things, but one of them is big, black birds. And the movie they used, the bird they used for the movie, The Sand, came from right here in Pahrump. And those birds are all around me. So these are some of the biggest, but these birds are big enough to carry cats off. You don't mess with birds out here. I don't know why they're so common to this area, but they're here. Big, big birds. Birds so big that if you can get near them and they begin to take off, their wingspan, as they begin to beat their wings to get their big bodies in the air, you can feel the draft. They are, in fact, big. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi, Art. How are you? Okay. Where are you? I'm in Reno right now. Reno, KOH. That's right. This story happened to me, I would say it was 91, 92. I don't remember the exact date. I was living in Guam. And I was at a friend's house, and he was on his way out the door. I just showed up. He's like, well, hey, look, I'm going to a rosary, which is really common out there. It's very, very Catholic, and it's kind of like the remembrance of their loved ones that have passed away. Sure, like, look, I'm on the way to this rosary. How about this? Come with me. We'll keep that way. We'll keep it real short. We'll just stop in. We'll, say hello, blah, 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 whatever, pay our respects, and then we'll take off. Right. Well, we get there. Everything's kind of fine. Everybody's kind of just mellow, and it's mostly just the immediate family of this guy that had passed away. Yes. And it was the guy that he went to school, my friend had went to school with. And so we're standing there, and the guy that died, a little sister came in. She was about maybe 4 or 5 years old. crying. She comes running from down the hall, and I don't remember the dead guy's name, but I'll just say David. She was crying, and her mother's like, "What's the matter, hon?" And she's like, "Well, David's here." And she was like, "I don't want to hear that. Just kind of calm down." She's like, "Mommy, David's here. He's here." And the grandmother said, "Look, just, your mother doesn't need this right now." Sure. And so everything was fine for about 15 minutes. Next thing you know, she's standing there. She says, "Look, there he is." And we all just kind of stopped, and we're all looking down the hall. There's nothing. And she's like, "Hey, you see him?" We're like, "No." And the grandmother by this time is getting a little irate, and the mother's pretty much crying pretty profusely, I guess. And it wasn't a really good scene at this time. Oh, gotcha. So everything kind of chilled out a while, and I'd say about 5 minutes passed. She walks down the hall, comes back, and she should say, "Look, David wants us in his room now." And, just to kind of humor her, I guess, the grandmother told my friend to go in the room with her. Sure. And also, her older brother, the one, that was older than the one that had died. So I just followed because, I don't know, it's kind of like one of those little horror movies, I guess. You want to know what's going on. So I followed her into the room, and she's, pointing to these I guess they're cupboards or whatever, but they're kind of like, sliding doors above the bed, and they're about 6 feet up in the air. And she's like, "He wants us to open those." So my friend goes over to open it, and he can't make it budge. He cannot make this little door to this cupboard slide over. So he asked me to help him, and I get up there. I'm not a little guy. I'm about 200 pounds and about 6 foot, right? And I was pushing and just pulling and pushing. We tried everything to get this open. There's 2 of us. And he couldn't do it. And, I'm starting to get a little, not really upset, just aggravated. Sure. And she's, starting to cry again, saying, do it. And so the mother walks in, and she's like, calm down. Well, and then the little girl said, "No, he wants me to open it." So my friend picked her up, and she slid it open with not even a budge. It was just like she could use her pinky. Yeah. And in there were a bunch of personal artifacts and pictures. And the first thing that they pulled out was a letter that he had written to his little sister in case something had ever happened to him. Oh my God! It was the scariest thing. I mean, yeah.
Well, I listen, thank you very much for the story. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. That, though, is typical. And there are 2 things I would take from that. One, again, a person who has died coming back to give a message that must be given. Something that must be released from that spirit before it is released. But the other aspect of that story that I find intriguing is that I believe that little children, have more of an ability to see, experience, or touch the other side than we do. Now, I wouldn't pretend to be able to tell you why, and there are adult sensitives, certainly, who have either maintained or nurtured that ability to see or reach or talk to the other side. But children, in their innocence, I think, have something that the rest of us begin to lose as we get older. Because of the noise of society, the noise level, the signal to noise level, if you will. It was a deep thing that is either in all of us, or was once in all of us, or is still in all of us. That fades. But in children, it has not yet faded. So children have a unique kind of sensory ability the rest of us do not have. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Good morning.
How you are?
Okay, where are you?
I'm in Canton, Michigan, which is just west of Detroit.
Excellent. WJR, I bet.
You betcha.
All right.
I just want to tell you about a really scary ghost story that involves my brother.
This is back in 1983, October 7th.
Yes, sir.
And,
You remember the date that well, huh?
well, I sure do, because I was on the road. I was playing with a band in Saginaw, Michigan.
Ah, yes.
Playing at the 4D Hotel. And I finished the job about 2:30 in the morning, and I went up and I had a couple of beers, and I laid down. And all of a sudden, I woke up and I was at the top of the stairs. We were staying on the second floor of the hotel. And all of a sudden I felt an arm around me, and it was like, I heard a, "Hey brother, go back to your room. You gotta go to sleep." Well, all of a sudden the next night, I got a call from my mother that my brother had committed suicide, and he had died 2 days earlier on the 6th.
Oh, boy. Any other visits, or was that it?
No, he visited me for about the next week and a half.
He did?
Yes.
And talked with you?
It was like I could feel a cold stare over me.
A presence?
Yes.
Not unusual. Again, really typical.
It was very strange.
People pass, and yet, for some reason, they don't quite pass. They're not quite ready. And I guess that was the case with your brother. Now, I'm curious. Were you comforted by that or frightened by it?
I was comforted very much.
Did it change you?
Yeah, I think it did.
I mean, does it tell you there is an afterlife?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Yeah. I sure do appreciate your story and your call. Thank you. That is what it's all about. The search. Now, how are we to know there really is another sun? Well, he knows. Other people who have experienced things like that, they know. And I may know something that I don't want to talk about. I'll let you do the talking. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Good morning.
How was that, Grandmaster?
Well, thou art fine if you would turn your radio off.
Okay, I sure didn't care about that.
Sorry. Where are you?
I'm calling from Fresno, California. I'm on KMJ 580.
That's the one.
You got it. I want to say one thing. I really enjoy the show, and I enjoy Dreamland immensely.
Thank you. It is a different kind of program.
I think I have to do with Nightmare Theory, every single number. Anyway, story to your audience, not necessarily a ghost story, but also spooky, and I was into it from time to time. I tell people. Well, one Saturday morning, it was back in 1989. It was 2 weeks before I came out of town, which I remember. I started to wake up on the Saturday morning, all of a sudden this blue light shine, like a blue light shining inside of my head.
Inside of your head.
Yeah, it's like a jealous of the words, like a TV or an image flickers inside my head.
Okay.
And then, get rid of it. I saw it as like people, like in a large or fairly good sized underground cavern or hallway or room. And then swaths or bays of blue light. There was 4 of them. They were tall, they had like jeweled maps on and robes on the ceiling. The ones were black. Were running, and my hair was like kind of longish and black. And then the men had gray robes, and the skin was like white, like Mickey Mouse. And that just for about 30 seconds. And then from time to time, I think it would be a symbolic of something or what. But I'll tell you, I was sure startled, but I was such a job. I told people about it. What would you call that? A vision? I don't know. For a moment, I have but ironically, I've been thinking that before I was first house to find the communicating messages, psychiatry. Why do you think they were? Well, I mean, I got to thinking about that. I don't think that you are, but I got the feeling that for overseas, I don't know if that's
Maybe, all right, thank you very much. Maybe what happened is you just sort of crossed psychic paths for a few moments with somebody who was doing some kind of experiment somewhere else, or somebody else who was dabbling in areas they perhaps should not have been, and you were simply the receptor for that tampering. Now that's an absolute stab in the dark for somebody who is simply a talk show host and listened to your story. I don't have the slightest idea what it was. But if you'd had a couple, it certainly would sober you up, wouldn't it? We'll be back. There'll be more. This is Ghost to Ghost AM. Complex for about 2.5 years. I work nights, therefore I sleep in the day. Richard, I do too. After a few months after moving into my apartment, I'd be awakened from a sound sleep by the feeling that someone was in bed with me. It was as though someone was thrashing wildly about the bed. When I looked at the bed, it was as empty as was the bedroom. This happened every day during the month of September and stopped after September 21st. I thought it was just a sleep disorder, since it seemed to have disappeared. I saw it. Then, following the same thing happened, and just as before, it stopped after the 21st. I went to my doctor. I discovered Anyway, last month, it began again, and the pills did not work. The thrashing feeling would be more intense and last longer. No longer in sleep. After 2 days of no sleep, I came home from work, and the neighbor, passing the place, noticed my haggard look. He asked me if I was sick, but I wasn't getting much sleep. One thing led to another, and before I knew it, I told him about my strange tale that I this guy just lived at this complex for 15 years. My office was, why no one stayed for very long in your unit? Now I think I know. Back in September of 1980, a young lady lived in your apartment. And later that month was found dead on her bed. The autopsy showed that she had been strangled and put up one hell of a fight. End quote. Now I believe the thrashing about my bed is the spirit of this lady. Another thing that's strange is that it only happens during the day, not the night. Therefore, I feel she must have died during the day. What do you think? What should I do? Jim, in Phoenix, Arizona. Buddy, I wouldn't begin to try to tell you what to do. I don't know. More Ghost to Ghost AM in just a moment. I call it that. Normally the name of the show, by the way, is Coast to Coast AM. But tonight, and maybe a bit of tomorrow night, it's Ghost to Ghost. Many of you health-conscious folks are familiar with antioxidants and their amazing health benefits. Now, vitamin C is probably the most famous of these. UCLA scientists found that antioxidant vitamin C can help avoid cancer, strokes, heart attacks, increase life expectancy an average of 5 years. Well, now, there are new antioxidants on the market. Scientists say they are 20 times more powerful than vitamin C and 50 times the power of vitamin E, another antioxidant. They're also not just the super antioxidants. You want to remember that if you're a health-conscious individual. Why? Well,
According to Richard Hassler, PhD, and deformity entity, you're being bombarded by something called free radicals, toxic, environmental, and otherwise, that can break down cells, damage tissues, cause you to age faster, develop stiff joints, and wrinkle sooner than young you. How can you fight these free radicals that bombard you every day? Antioxidants and glucogenol's are the most effective antioxidants you can find today. To order this amazing new food supplement I'm taking, call the folks at Health Naturally at 1-800-856-1119. These glucogenol's are pharmaceutical grade made from 95% pure grapeseed extract. It's a very pure stuff on the market, giving you the most benefits. Call 1-800-856-1119. That's 1-800-856-1119. One of the notes, and it's back to the stories. It involves absolutely fresh flowers. This is a company in Southern California that sends only good spirits, emotions, love, fear, caring, and they send them directly to the person you want to. The next day, here's the deal. It's a flower farm. They sell flowers minus the cost of getting them there. At the wholesale rate. So when you call the flower, they actually go out the flowers, pack them up in this big triangular box, and they go out the next day by the day. So you call today, the flowers are going to be if you've got a clear something you want to settle your mind now, you can call and miniature carnations. Everybody's your message, your name, flower, preservative, and delivery all for $39.95. Try and beat that anywhere. The number to call 24 hours a day is 1-800-562-6438. Let me give that one more time. 1-800-562-6438. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Good morning. Where are you calling from?
Houston, Alaska.
Houston, Alaska.
Right.
All right. Welcome to the show.
Linda.
Hi, Linda.
And let me tell you first that I was born outside of Texas. And we started up in a place actually 35 years ago when I was 13. It was a place called Greenfield, Massachusetts. And at 13, I was in public school there. And at 13, I got accepted on board that went to Catholic school. And I talked to a couple of my friends here on one night to go weekend after catechism got out.
Yes.
And we had a couple of times we were going to be home. And we knew we were going to be late. So my friend, it was at 6 kilometers to the church, was a little cemetery. And it had a lot right in it, and it was a lot. And as a child, I don't remember it ever being used, but it was an old cemetery. It was shut down. And my friend was going to the cemetery, take a trip and home. So I was a child, wasn't afraid of anything. So we took off to the cemetery, right? And halfway through the cemetery,
Well, if you weren't afraid, then why would you go?
well, I had a deadline to get home.
I got you. All right.
Okay. So got going to the cemetery, and halfway through the cemetery, I fell through the ground. I fell through the ground.
Through the ground.
Into a hole which I assumed was a grave. And so I first fell down on the mountain, and I was single. I had over the life of the trauma, I had brain problems that I was covered with. And at that time, I was 13 years old. I was only about 5 months. I didn't think that after I did. And I felt something around, like people running, nothing that was dragging on me, but some kind of pressure that lifted me up out of that dirt. And I was at a dead run, and I just stopped, so I went to the other side of the cemetery. And my friends were there, and I was covered in dirt, and I was covered with all the lights, and probably with 2 lights, like all over me. And I never, to this day, have spent in the cemetery.
I cannot say I blame you. That, to me, would be the end because I would have a heart attack. Fortunately, your heart was young enough to take it, I guess. Great story. Thank you very much. Take care of Alaska. Can you imagine running across the cemetery in the dark, falling into a grave with bugs on it? I remember poltergeist. I don't know, it's etched in my memory. You remember at the end when the graves began coming up, and they fell into the pool? Do you remember that? And the skeletons and the sort of half fleshy, half non-fleshy things began to get in the pool. I wouldn't make it through that. I wouldn't even begin to make it through that. I get around in that mucky water like one of those flapping flesh things, and I'd have my heart attack on the spot. East of the Rockies, you're on the edge of it. Hello, where are you? Austin, Texas. Austin, welcome. Yes, I'm calling about stories of the Is this something that your family would want to talk about? It's not something that's proud of.
everyone knows about. There's certainly one thing
Would you go in there?
yeah, I guess I would. Just out of curiosity, because it's something over the whole life and doing things.
Why I listen, I very much appreciate your call. There's no way that I would. There's no way. Absolutely no way. Now, you tell me you explain to me that that man is just like me, women in the low-cut dresses, who the moment you hear the bump and the grind in the basement, immediately you want. They go down the stairs to the basement. But one place where you know they ought not go. Everybody knows evil things are in dark basements, but they go straight down there. See if I don't have a keyboard, they go and go. He would go and he go with the body. I know he would. I would. We should. Listen, I want to tell you two things. One, if you would like a copy, we have over 2 more hours of this program yet to do. If you would, this is one program that we make available to the audience. If you would like a copy of the program you are listening to right now, you can call 1-800-917-4278. Let me give you that number again because I know a lot of you are running one. It's 1-800-917-4278, and it is good now 24 hours a day. It is the Ghost to Ghost Halloween show. One other little item. We know we're going on in a whole bunch of you affiliate areas at this point. We'd love to hear from you by fax. We do have a 24-hour-a-day fax service, which sounds pretty fancy. It's really just a fax machine in my living room. The number is area code 702-727-8499. Well, you get that to you again. I'd love to hear from somebody in New York. Maybe more on way back in Rochester. Area code 702-727-8499. Western Rockies, you're on the air. Hello, Scott. Graham Washington. Hello, Scott. And this is something that happened on the west side of the Electric Pond. Yes, sir. Anyway, we were, there were 4 of us. We had 2 pickup trucks and 1 camper on 1 truck. And we went up to a beautiful spot where the river, and on the other side of the river, the cliff with these just huge shoulders, probably 5 to 1,000 pound boulders. They're just huge, big rocks. And so we got up there and it was, and so I decided to call my camper and have it all coffee. We're all in my program about 1:30 p.m. I heard some splashing in the river. We heard some grunts. Yeah, I figured it was probably bigger about there. Coming from the river, you know. They look like grunts. So after a while, the grunts would get louder and heard like people laughing each other, you know, you hear the crack of the rock voice. And after a while, these rocks keep getting closer and closer to our camper. And you can feel the rock hit the ground outside to a big stuff. And I'm telling you, we all looked at each other and we said, nobody's going outside. I mean, we were 115, so we were scared to death. I was, you mean like those gigantic logs, you know, coming out of the air and hitting the ground like that? Yeah. Somebody was over there throwing these huge rocks. And then, you know, I wanted to call you last week about the Sasquatch sound because you wouldn't believe this. I mean, the hair on the back of our necks was standing up now. Was it like the sound I've done? It was close, but not really. I mean, it was closer to the first one that Linda House said, or the second one? The second one. That came down, that absolutely horrible. It was a, I don't know what I would call that. I would call that, It almost sounds human. To me, it sounded like a man in horrible, horrible agony. That's the only way I can think to put it. Is that about the way it sounded? Oh, you would believe it, or it was just about like echoing up and down the river. And it was terrible. We were terrified. And these rocks, you could almost hear them whistling through the air. And they're crashing on the other side of our camper. They're hitting the water, and the cracking of the rocks. And this went on for 3 hours. And we were like, what do you guys do? You just sit there and sort of shake it? No, we're on the floor of the camper. We just couldn't move. We didn't know when these rocks would hit us. Now, you see, that sounds realistic to me. That's what I mean. Floor of the camper, you betcha. And we were on to the TV. I was ready for anything. And just went out to the shower. It was about like 4:30 in the morning, and the sun started coming up. We're all seeing each other going, thank God. You know, basically, that's real bad. But anyway, so we finally had enough nerve to go outside the door because the crashing and everything had stopped like about an hour before the sun came up. Yeah, I was waiting to. For the crashing to stop and for the sun to come up. Okay, sounds good so far. Okay, so we go outside. Finally, we opened up the door. And we all got out. And you guys get out here, you gotta see it. And the other truck was just fine. But around our truck and the camper, there was these huge boulders that circled around the camper. What, I presume to this day you have no idea what it was. No, but it had to be something awfully big, because it took us pushing with one truck and pulling with another to get them far enough out of the way so we could get the truck and camper out. That's an incredible story. Do you swear that's true? Oh yeah, this happened in 1975 because when I got out of the service and all four of us got together because we used to go on camping trips when we were in high school. And this day when we get together, I mean, this, you know, it's a show we always talk about. I can imagine it would. Well, you know, that one is almost a topper. What an absolutely incredible story. And so that's where it ended. You hauled the rocks away, and that was it. Yeah, we pushed them out of the way, and we got out of there. I've never been up there again. I can't believe it. I will not go. Thank you very much for the story. Thank you. Take care. Something that big, those kinds of rocks. No, thank you. Yes, it goes AM. On order bell. So we'll be right back. From the high desert and the great American Southwest, I bid you all good evening. Good morning. As it is maybe under a great big square. Doing this great meeting for talk radio. I bid you a very good day. How about that? That settles just about everything. Whether it's evening or morning, from the Hawaiian and Tahitian Islands in the west to the Caribbean and U.S. Virgin Islands eastward, south into South America, and north to worldwide on the internet. This is Coast to Coast AM, and I'm Markel. Nice to be here. Coming up this evening for a while is somebody that so many of you have requested that I have on. His name is Robert Anton Wilson. Robert Anton Wilson is an author, has written 31 books, including his soon-to-be-released Encyclopedia of Conspiracies. He's written books on the Illuminati, the Blue Inquisition. He's written books on scientific theories rejected by the establishment. He has examined that which runs around as, I don't know, something between myth and reality and rumor and
This is an interesting evening, so at least, and there are lots of endless topics that we can discuss in this arena. And so that, my friend, is what's coming up in a moment. Otherwise, I want to remind you that we have some very, very interesting crop circle photographs on the web for you to see. And if you have not yet seen them, I would suggest you go on up there. And once again, anybody out there who has got. And by the way, if we don't yet have it, there is a crop circle in Oregon shown on CNN earlier in the day that is, I think, of particular significance. And a notch up from the one in Oregon that we have exclusive photographs of. I would love to get any photographs that anybody has, original photographs, aerial photographs, and we're beginning to collect them ourselves. Now comes Robert Anton Wilson. Robert, welcome to the show.
Nice to be on your show, right?
Glad to have you. Over the months, even the last couple of years, Robert, everybody kept emailing me and sending me messages and faxes saying that I have Robert Anton Wilson on. And so finally somebody gave me a phone number. I got in contact with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself. 31 minutes, that's about you. Who are you and what's your background?
Well, I guess I was the manager of Playboy now I'm celebrating full time. My first major was with a woman really was basically probably shedding the was a volume comic. It was dramatic science fiction trilogy with a lot of content. So that most readers weren't sure how much was real and how much was fiction. People have realized about it. I enjoyed the argument very much because I'm not sure myself how much is true and how much is fiction.
I'll sit back because that was going to be the next question. So you can't settle that at all then.
Well, I have no opinion about it, but I'm not sure about it. You know?
Oh, you wrote the book, so you grabbed some of it, mythology, some of what is true,
I was working for Playboy Foundation. I was yes, we get all the getting all sorts of original people. I was voted to the foundation. We got paid. People really crazy. Collected items of American football. Usually it's about social media for all the crazy theories you have a really successful and it's very hard to say which theories are really crazy because some of the crazy ones are not doing that much fun. Well, we are going to refer to people sometimes things on the internet and the goes about it and some of these later turns out to be true. Religion, at least. You know, what the hell is going on? Well, it's also young people in these places, like the Jesuit, founded a secret society called the Illuminati within various honestly, I feel like that was the beginning of it. It was a lot more studied the subject as traced like that was only the revival. They have traced the Illuminati all the way back through history, ancient Egypt, and back to Atlantis. But whether White House started it or revived it, he had a secret society within a secret society because Freemasonry is already a secret society. So when you've got a secret society within a secret society, you got a pretty good mystery there. And there has been many theories about what the Illuminati was up to. Thomas Jefferson called himself an enthusiastic philanthropist. A lot of people have regarded him as the founder of communism, even before Karl Marx. Some think he was an atheist, some think he was a magician or a mystic, some think he was fascist, something. He was a Democrat. He was trying to found a democratic society in Europe, just like the one we founded in this country at around the same time. Whatever he was up to, he managed to create enough confusion that everybody can make up their own theory about him. The Illuminati was banned by the Bavarian government in 1786, and then according to most respectable historians, it ceased to exist. According to a lot of others who are not so respectable but more interesting, it is continued underground under a variety of different names.
Right, well, this still does not tell me, though, what they're all about. I mean, are they some sort of string pullers behind government, or what is the theory?
Well, it's not one theory. There's a variety of theories about them. One theory is that they are like magicians, Satanists, monsters, they're serving the devil. Another theory is that they are conspirators who want to take over the world, and they're working in cahoots with the international bankers, and they produce all the wars and revolutions and ups and downs in the last 200 years as part of a big plan to form one world government with themselves at the head of it. Another theory is they want mystics working to liberate the human mind from superstition and ignorance.
Well, how do they do that when they're part of that themselves?
Well, that's the thing. Jefferson said if they were in America, they wouldn't have to be a secret society. And in Europe, the only way they could preach democracy was in a very secret and underground way. Jefferson thought they were Democrats. There's a wide variety of opinions about it.
All right, you and I share a recent event. Where these things spread most readily is this wonderful place known as the Internet. And I love it. We have a big presence on the Internet. As a matter of fact, big website. But I was sick, Robert, for about 3 days. This was months ago. And somebody out there decided to write my obituary and put it on the Internet. And by the second day, I mean, I just had the flu. That's all I got, the flu. I was taking a few days off. I'm sick. And I began to get calls from affiliate radio stations all over the country, as far away as the Virgin Islands, saying, "Oh my God, Art's dead." And they wrote a very reasonable sounding obit for me. You know, who survives me, what I have done, my background, that sort of thing. And I was dead. And I was dead. I'm telling you, once I spent the time groggily on the phone because I was sick, trying to assure my affiliates that I am not dead. And I think that happened to you, didn't it?
Yeah, a couple of years ago, I think it was 92, somebody put a fake story out on the internet. It was supposed to be from the Los Angeles Times. And it said I was found dead of a heart attack. And it got my age wrong and the number of children wrong. But it didn't get the number of books right. And as soon as I started denying it, the internet being a likely place, then more Eldritch theories came forth. It was claimed that the CIA had killed me, and I was replaced by an android that imitated me. So people who said they saw me giving lectures in various places, they didn't believe it wasn't the real me. It was a very clever imitation.
Well, what else are they going to say when you make an appearance?
Well, they may be right. I read, Phil Dick was a great science fiction writer and a friend of mine. He pointed out a perfect android to replace somebody who thinks they was that somebody. Because they have all the memories and all the same impulses and intellectual activities as the person they were replacing.
The really sad thing is we're getting enough technology to where that actually soon, if not now, may be possible.
Well, there was a chap back in the 80s, I don't know if he's still doing it, still putting it out. He used to have a conspiracy newsletter, a fellow named Peter Beater, of all things. And he claimed the Soviet Union, who was still the number one enemy in those days, they were killing American politicians one by one and replacing them with androids. I mean, all I can say about that is if my name was Peter Beater, I'd probably be a little weird by the time I got out of high school.
Well, as I look at the political scene today, I'm not sure I might not grasp onto that one, glom onto that one myself.
Well, like I said, I can't prove I'm not an android either.
Your background is so interesting. You work for Playboy. Did you know Larry Flint?
I only met Larry Flint once, and I can't say anything about him. It was a very short meeting. Didn't see much of you after either when I was working for him.
All right. I saw the movie on Larry Flint here recently. I thought it was quite good, really.
I thought it was an excellent movie, and I'm glad it got at least one Academy Award. It got a couple of nominations. I think he's a great hero of free speech. He managed to offend everybody. I think that's a marvelous achievement to offend so many people to get upheld by the Supreme Court.
Bob Puccioni's publication, President, would like to interview me, and so listeners of Bob Puccioni. So I thought about it. I said, I'll tell you what. You tell Bob Puccioni he comes on my program and does an interview for me, and I'll let you interview me. So we're going to trade. We'll see if we're going to trade. I'd love to have Bob on to talk about it. It is how do you come down on the first one of the things as it relates to say something like Hustler, a notch deeper than Playboy or two?
Well, I'm very much in favor of the First Amendment. I think it's one of the best parts of the Constitution. I hate to see anybody monkeying around with it. I agree with Justice, the late Justice Black, who said that the founding fathers is judged by the Constitution and by their diaries, letters, and other public documents. But we're all very careful and eloquent masters of the English language. And when they wrote we should have no laws abridging freedom of speech or of the press, they meant no laws. If they had meant some laws, they would have written some laws. But they wrote no laws. And I agree with you, though, Black. He was a simple farm boy. He said that was his problem. I don't know what my problem is, but like Justice Black, to me, no laws means no laws.
Well, that's exactly the position Larry Flint took. It's just that he irritated so many people along the way.
Well, we don't most of them have civil liberties, so people who are very irritating.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Would you count yourself in that group?
Well, I seem to have irritated quite a few people in the course of my career.
What have you done that generally has most irritated people, do you think?
Well, in the new position, I pointed out that some of the behavior of some of the scientific community is not unlike behavior of the Catholic Church in the Renaissance, and the way they try to get rid of theories they don't like.
Yes. Well, you know what?
I've irritated a lot of people in the scientific community. I've irritated a lot of feminists pointing out that most of the things they write about men, if you just take out the word man and put in the word Jew, it sounds exactly like Adolf Hitler and Mike Kemp. And I've irritated a lot of fundamentalist religionists by pointing out that the blind faith can be wrong. You got 150 blind faiths to choose from. Better to try to figure things out rationally, I think. You see, I am a very irritating person for a lot of people.
I can see how that would irritate a lot of people. I've never been able to embrace blind faith myself. And it brings forth people who get very angry with you. I like to be able to put my hand on something and or prove it scientifically before I embrace it. And religion certainly, falls into that category. But when you say something like that, why you will offend probably about 30-40% of the population. I don't know anymore.
If you never offend anybody, what's the point of writing?
Actually, I take that same view with regard to broadcasting. And it constantly gets me in trouble when I work for Final Forward, and I guess you do too. You looked in all kinds of things like extrasensory perception things. Now, there's something, ESP. UFOs, or many of the things I talk about on this program that the mainstream scientific community, in concert with mainstream media, snickers at the least, and thinks all about actively more often than not. What have you found as you have investigated?
Well, what I found is that among controversial scientific theories, there's a lot more evidence for them than you generally find out from the establishment, the scientific establishment or the media establishment. As for instance, ESP, there's been research on that for over 100 years, over, I guess, around 1,000 universities right now, all over the world. And there's mountains and mountains of evidence. I was giving a lecture at the Dublin Science Fiction Society in Ireland, and somebody asked in the question period, do you believe in UFOs? And I said, sure. They burst out with a long explanation of how they were all Eden versions. I said, well, you both believe in UFOs. You think you know what they are, and I admit I don't know. I give